How's everyone doing today? It's CJ Halleck with CJHalleck.com, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the steps that I use to create my logos. Basically, I'm going to come into Photoshop, and I'm going to start by doing a new canvas, or a new file, and I'm going to call this TBF Labs, and I normally start off at 5,000 by 5,000. Or 20, we'll do 2,500 by 2,500 because we won't need any that big. 2,500. We'll set the resolution to 300. RGB color needs to be changed to CMYK. Background contents, I'm going to go ahead and click transparent and click OK. So this is going ahead and starting you with a square canvas, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I should have just went ahead and went white. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is white, and I'm going to color drop this to white. And I know what I call these things is totally not what they are. I am not trained in Photoshop. I'm self-trained, so I just know how to make it work. So basically, I'm going to come into the text, and I'm going to just maybe not, and I will take this down to 0, 0, 0, and 100. And what this is going to do is this is going to make it like actually like true black, I think is what they call it, which is basically just the black ink. If you were to print this out, it's just the black when you have the CMYK printer. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try this again. There we go. TBF Labs. And I'm going to center this, and there's different ways to do different things. I know there's a shortcut somewhere that I'm missing, but there's a shortcut to center it on the canvas. I know I'm just missing it right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start. We're going to go View, New Guide. We're going to go 50% vertical, and then we're going to do 50% horizontal. So we're going to do the same thing. Why I went up there, and I don't know. And then we're going to do horizontal, and that's going to make this hit for the center mark. So when you come up here, you grab the arrow, you can actually get all the way in here and bring that center mark right where it crosses. And sometimes because of how the size and stuff, you may notice that it's not necessarily all the way in the center. And if you try to go up on it, it doesn't work. And if that's the problem, you know, if you know, you notice that it's not that big of a deal, it's a half a pixel away from center, there's nobody's naked eye that will be able to realize that. And that just helps make sure that we have it centered in the canvas. So if we need to go bigger on it, it won't be an issue. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to raise this up. Let's go to 72 and see where it's at. Alright, and then I'm just going to take it up until it's a decent size. Always want to have space on the outside, just because you never know. Once you're working on it, you may want to add a frame around it or something like that. So we'll take to 100 points. Bring it back here, and then center that. Which, with the new size, may center easier. May not. There we go. So it's, well, it's as center as it's going to be. It looks like it's maybe a 10th pixel off, but regardless. So we have this right here. And looking at it, there are a few things that I want to do to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, to keep this center where it is, and I may come back in and recenter it later, but I'm going to go ahead and come in here while it's on the same size and add the T, and I'm going to bring it down here. We'll go higher on it. Now, see, I'll mess around with it and I'll go back and forth just trying to get everything you know, play with different looks and whatnot, but that is not what I wanted. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add a T. So we have TBF Labs. And just the words doesn't look right to me, so I'm going to want to add something else to it. I know I am. Let's put this back to center. And let's... Okay, so what I'm going to do now, since I have that, I'm going to go ahead and under this, I'm going to add a new layer. We'll actually come in here and grab one of these, and we'll just make the box. And then basically what I'm going to do is kind of get it where I want it. And like I said, I am self-trained on this. So for those of you who want to learn the proper way to do things, I'm probably not your guy. So once I have this shape, I'm going to go ahead, we'll apply. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the style. And I have this style created where it's nothing but a stroke, and it makes it completely transparent. So I'm going to come into the stroke. We're going to change the color. I'm going to match it to the font. And we're going to change, and we'll change this to the inside, and this will make it to where it's got the actual square corners. And then from there we can make this kind of framed in. Looks about right. And then if you want, you know, you can change different things. I think I might come in and remove that section. Sounds ridiculous, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So basically I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to unselect everything but or new layer, sorry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this TBF Labs like kind of like an image, not as much text. So I'm going to merge visible, and that makes that to where I can actually delete part of it and it not be like mess with it. So we're going to come in here and turn this all back on so I can see what it looks like, and hit delete. And then I'll deselect, and then it just kind of adds that underline to it. In the text you can still see the curves, it still looks like that's what the word is, but it gives it a little bit of a different look. So I'm going to go ahead and run with that. Looks good to me. The only thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this rectangle. I'm going to do the same thing I did for the text, and we'll merge visible. And then because this is collectively the logo that's going to be, or the brand, if you will, the business that's going to be over everything else under me, kind of, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to put my logo in here, but since I have the 310 thing that I use on all mine, I'm not going to add the, you know, excuse me. As you see on my logo, I got the 3 on the left and then the pipe and then the X. I like that. I'm just not going to do that. I had to get me a drink of water, sorry. I'm not going to do that with the line. I'm going to just separate and have the 310. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and remove a section. So I'm going to get about where that's at. I'm going to remove a small section. Let's do the section about the size of the S, and then we'll center that ish in the middle. Okay, so now we'll deselect that, and you see how that sits, and then down here I'll just open a new text. We're going to probably want to drop this down quite a bit, and I'm going to try to use, I think I still have the font, yeah, so I'm going to use dense font, which is what I used for the logo. And I'm going to go ahead and basically make the logo without the line. And then that's going to kind of sit in here, and then I'll just basically resize it to make it fit. Make sure it doesn't touch that bottom part of that S, and then basically just kind of get it where I like the look of it. Alright, and then now there's the logo. And I lied. But basically, I'm debating on putting that line in there, but I don't think I will. Anyway, so we're going to keep this as is. This is going to be our logo. So I'm going to uncheck the background layer to make sure you see everything as it's going to sit with the transparency and everything else. So now you can do one of two things. You can either save this as a PNG and move forward, not have to worry about anything, or you can go ahead and convert this over to an EPS file, which is a vector file, and that basically allows you to resize this as big as you want, to where if you want to put this on a billboard, you can do that and it doesn't lose resolution, because right now it is not. Because if you zoom in, if you try to make this really big, this is what you'll get with the boxed pixelated look. And with vector, it keeps that smooth look across the board. You could have done this completely in Illustrator. I do not have not used Illustrator much aside from this next step I'm about to show you, and there's a reason for that. It's not for me. But anyways, I've like I said, I've self-taught on Photoshop, and I don't have a need for Illustrator as much as I do Photoshop, so I'm not worried with it. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and add the background back to it. Take another look at it. Let's come in. I'm going to go ahead and clear guides so we can get a look at it without it. I love the look of that. That's what we're going with. So now I'm going to go ahead and come into File, Save As, and then I'm going to go under Desktop, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. And what this does, and we're going to go all the way up and make sure it's maximum quality, and click OK. That way it keeps the resolution, has everything the way you want it, and then we can come into that image, and I'm going to go ahead and open with Illustrator. And when we're in here, you see how it sits, and it kind of, yeah, it sits right inside of the canvas the way it's sitting right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and open the layers. We're going to go down to the image itself. We're going to double click on it, and that's going to basically bring up the box for the size of it, and to reshape and everything else. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to actually image trace, and there's tracing options you can open. I think it's edit, or is it object? Yeah, object, image trace, live paint. I think it is. But anyways, regardless, what we're doing, what this is, the image trace is going to do here is basically remove all the white. So if we click this, now it's removed all of the white, and we can click expand, and it will actually show each of the black shapes that are here individually. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll hit expand, and hopefully, okay. So basically it still has white, so probably right here in the B, that's probably what that is, and you kind of saw it change here. So that's the white that's inside of the B. The rest of it, since this is completely open and exposed everywhere, I probably will have the background in white, and I do, so I'll check that. And now this is the only thing you see is the black. So now that that's done, I'm going to just go ahead and come in here, click File, and then I'm going to do Save As, and we're going to save it as an EPS file. EPS Labs, and I'm going to go ahead and put logo, and click Save, and OK. This is writing it, and so now when you open it up in Photoshop from the EPS file, you'll be able to resize it to any size you need. and it's completely flat, so it's the same color. And I have EPS set to open in Photoshop all the time because that's what I use it in the most. So now you can resize it exactly how big you want it, and if you need to change it, you can change it to RGB if you're working with RGB, doing images and things of that nature, like watermarks or whatever. So we can come in here, we can set the resolution, definitely not that, and we'll set this at 5x5, and we'll click OK. And there's your logo. In Vector, you can resize it, and you see it's pixelated when you get in close because it's back to being a regular image, but here in Photoshop. But this file can be resized to any size you want, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I create my logos. So moving forward in the tutorial, and sorry this one kind of went a bit longer than I was planning. I thought I had an idea for it, but that was going to be simple, but just the text just didn't look right. I was just going to go with the text, so I had to add some stuff. But anyways, that's how I make my logos. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell to get notifications when we upload new videos, or better yet, when I upload new videos. And follow along the tutorial as we started out with the TBF Labs process. You can go back and watch the earlier videos if you've not watched those yet to learn how to find the best name, sign up for Gmail, and the things you need on your websites. Moving forward, we're going to go ahead and keep going down the list of what you need for the build process. We're going to create the other images we need, including, and that's kind of why I'm keeping this open, creating a square icon for your website. And since this is rectangle, having this in a profile picture that is square or circle wouldn't look right. So you'd want to change some things. So we're going to get into all that in the next video. And actually, yeah, we'll get that in the next video, how to turn a how to take your rectangle logo and make it, you know, square and make sure it fits inside of a circle and all that stuff for the like Instagram and Facebook, where they have the images show as a circle. So that being said, hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the rambling and the coughing and whatnot, but hope y'all have a good one. Take care. Be great. Stay boosted.